Okay, Wildcats, today we're in that CBA test review part 1 tutorial. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, question 1. What is the domain and range of the function in interval notation? Now, domain is from left to right. So we start here at 4. It's greater than, so solid dot, so it's greater than or equal to 4. Okay, notice how the inequality almost makes an arrow pointing that direction. Okay, now range is from bottom to top. So the bottom is 0 and it's greater than, so it's y greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so the answer is that. Now, the answer is not this one because in order to have a line underneath, it has to be a closed circle. This answer would be an open circle. Okay, and there's not an open circle right there. Okay, all right. Question 2, domain and range. Now, domains from left to right. So from the left, we're coming from neg infinity we go to 0, but it doesn't include 0, or it goes from 0 to infinity. Okay, now ranges from bottom are coming from neg infinity. We go to 0, but it doesn't include 0, or we go from 0 to infinity. Okay, which statement describes the domain and range of the function? Okay, so we have the domain and range. Okay, now we know it's not all real numbers because it doesn't include 0, so it's not this one. Now, technically, we're saying x does not equal 0, and we're saying that y does not equal 0. So that is correct. Okay, and then the domain we have here is this, so the answer is here. Okay, all right, let's look at question. Okay, which statement is true about the function? Okay, now the domain is all real numbers. Okay, which we use the double R means all real numbers, which is also the same as saying neg infinity to positive infinity. Okay, so it's from neg infinity to negative or positive infinity, so that's all real numbers. And here it's neg infinity to positive infinity, so it's all real numbers, which is the same as the domain and range of the parent function. Okay, so the answer to this is the domain and range are the same as the parent function. Okay, all right, let's take a look at question number 4. Okay, what is the domain and range of the function in set notation? Okay, so domain here is domain is x, range is y. So domain is x okay, x such that, okay, x is an element of the all real numbers, and then the range is y, such that y is an element of the all real numbers. Okay, basically that's another way of saying it's from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, all right, so there's question 4. All right, question 5. Okay, it asks for the range. Now range is from the bottom to top. Okay, now the bottom is 0, so we're saying it's y such that y is greater than or equal to 0. And there's no open circle here, so it's not this answer. Okay, we consider that to be a closed dot. Okay, all right. All right, CBA review part 2 tutorial. Okay, which parent function has a domain of all real numbers and a range of y greater than 0? Well, that's the exponential function, which is this right here. It does not include 0, okay? So it's greater than and not greater than equal to 0, okay? All right, question 2. which functions have asymptotes? Okay, well, the exponential has a function at y equals 0. Okay, the logarithmic function has an asymptote at x equals 0. Okay, so far it's exponential, logarithmic, and the rational function has asymptotes at x equals 0 and y equals 0. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the next question. Okay. Question 3. Which parent functions do not have x-intercepts? Okay. Well, and I forgot to graph one, so let me graph it now. Okay. The exponential function, which you graphed on the previous page, is this. Okay. And we know that it has an asymptote at y equals 0. That means the graph does not cross the x-axis, so it does not have an x-intercept. Okay? The rational function does not cross the x-axis because it has an asymptote y equals 0, so it does not have an x-intercept, so the answer is rational and exponential. Okay? Now, question number 4 says, what is the minimum value? This point right here is the minimum value. So at that point, the value is -6. Now, if it was this would be a maximum. Okay? All right? Let's take a look at the next question. Question 5. Okay? Which functions have lines of symmetry? Okay? Absolute value has a line of symmetry. That means if you cut it in half, okay, symmetric, okay? And quadratic has a line of symmetry, okay, because it cuts in half, symmetric. So the answer is absolute value and quadratic. All right? CBA test review part 3 tutorial. Okay? I'm sorry, you don't need to read that. Question 1. Solve the system of linear equations. Okay? What is the value of x? So we're going to do A inverse B. So A is 4, 2. If there's not a number in front of x, put a 1. And then put a number in front of y. So that's 1, -3, -2. And then -2, 3. There's no z, so we put 0. The b value is -6, 9, and 0. So now we need to use Desmos and do A inverse B. Okay, so let's do that now. So A, new matrix, 3 by 3, which is 4, 2, 1, 1, -3, -2, -2, 3, 0. Okay, and then B, new matrix, is a 3 by 1, which is -6, 9, 0. Okay. Oh, I don't need a matrix C. So now we do A inverse B. So our values are 0, 0, 3. Okay. So that's 0, 0, 3. That means the x value is 0, y is 0, and z is 3. So since it's asking for the x value, x is 0, there's your answer. Okay. Let's take a look at the next question. Okay. All right, question number 2. We're going to graph this in Desmos. Now, we need to graph the left side, so graph y equals 3. And then we're going to graph the right side, y equals, we can't use c, so we're going to use absolute value of x minus 6. And we're looking for the point of intersections, okay? So, this, we can delete this. And then we're going to come over to graphing calculator, and let's graph y equals 3, and y equals the absolute value of x minus 6, okay? So the points of intersection are 3, 3, and 9, 3, and we only need the x value. So x equals 3 and x equals 9. So x equals 3 and x equals 9. Now the points were 3, 3, and 9, 3, but we only need the x value. So we only need this and this. Okay, so the answer is here. All right, question 3. We're going to graph in Desmos. So we're going to graph these two and then find the point of intersection. Okay, so let's do that now. So 1 divided by 2, x, minus 2 divided by 3, y, equals 1. And then 3 divided by 2, x, plus 2y equals 6. Here's our point of intersection, 3, 0.75. So now we know that 0.75 equals 3/4, so the answer is here. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up that. Okay, question 4. Solve the system of linear equations and find the value of x plus y minus 2z. Okay, so we're going to use A inverse B. So A is 2, 4, negative 3, negative 1, 3, 2, negative 3, 2, and 5. B is 1, negative 4, negative 3. Okay, and we're going to use that to find the x value, the y value, and the z value. Okay, so let's do that now. Okay, come over here. A, new matrix 3 by 3, which is 2, 4, negative 3, negative 1, 3, 2, negative 3, 2, 5. Okay, then we're going to do B, new matrix 3 by 1, and then 1, negative 4, negative 3. And then we do A inverse B. And so x is 2, y is negative 6, and z is 3. Okay, so that means we're going to plug in 2 for x, negative 6 for y, and then negative 2 times 3 is negative here. So 2 minus 6 is negative 4, and then minus 2 times 3 is minus 6, which equals negative 10. Okay, all right, let's take a look at question 5. Match the function to the inverse. So the square root function's inverse is the quadratic function. The cube root function's inverse is the cubic function. And the exponential function's inverse is the logarithmic. Okay? All right, go and finish up question 5. All right. What is the inverse function of here? So to find the inverse, we change f of x to y. So y equals parentheses x plus 3 squared minus 5. Okay. Now we switch x and y. So x equals y plus 3 squared minus 5. Now we solve for y. So we add 5 to both sides. So that's x plus 5 equals y plus 3 squared. Now we're going to take the square roots of both sides. Okay, those cancel each other. So you're left with the square root of x plus 5 equals y plus 3. subtract 3 from both sides. So y, which is equal to f inverse of x in this case now, equals the square root of x plus 5 minus 3, which is this answer right here. Okay? All right, question 7, graph in Desmos. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to graph the left side. We're going to graph y equals 2 absolute value of x minus 8 minus 3, and we're going to graph y equals negative 5. And we're going to find the point of intersection. Okay, so graphing calculator, we don't need these. So y equals the absolute value of, 2 times the absolute value of x minus 8, okay, minus 3, okay, and then y equals negative 5. Okay, we're going to close this so we can see. We see here that they do not intersect, okay, so we know that this is no solution. Okay, all right, let's take a look at the next question. Okay, question 8, which is not a way to determine if a functions are inverse? And the answer to that, I don't know if you can see it, is x values and y values change sign. Is not, keyword not. Okay, all right. Question 9. Rachel is sitting on the beach. The sunlight reflects off the water at point 11 and hits Rachel at the point 42. What is the equation for the path of the sunlight? Okay, my grid did not show up, so I'm going to add grid lines to make this problem easier to work. So bear with me for just a few moments. Okay. All right. So let's graph the point. So 1, 1 is right here. And then 4, 2 is right here. And I think we need 2 more lines. A line here and a line here. Okay. Not perfect, but I think they're enough to help you with the problem. Okay. Now, this was where the original vertex was. Okay. So we know this graph went to the right one. And then we know when we go to the right one, we're minus 1. And then up 1. And we know when we're going up 1, it's plus 1. Okay. So our function is f of x equals, now we need the number in front. We figure that out. So that's slope. So we go up 1 to the right. 1, 2, 3. So our slope is 1/3. Okay. Absolute value x minus 1 plus 1. Okay, so the answer is here. Okay. All right. Take a look at question number 10. Okay, now I'm going to change the equation and it will line up with the answer that you're going to click on. Okay, so you might have to, if I think our numbers are the same, but if not, you just kind of change it and follow along with the work. Okay, it says which table is from the inverse of this? We need to find the inverse. To do that, we're going to change f of x to y. So y equals x plus 3 divided by 2. Okay. Now, inverse, remember, we switch the x and y. So x equals the square root of y plus 3 divided by 2. Okay. Now, to get rid of the square root, we square both sides. Okay. That cancels that. So now we're left with x squared equal to y plus 3 divided by 2. Now we need to multiply both sides by 2. So then that's 2x squared equals 2 times y plus 3 divided by 2. Well, the 2 divided by 2 becomes 1. Okay? So you have 2x squared equals y plus 3. Subtract 3 from both sides. So your y equals f inverse of x, which equals 2x squared minus 3. Okay? So we're going to graph this to find the point that matches the table. Okay? So let's do that now. So 2x squared minus 3. Okay, click on point. 0, negative 3. And, here's another one. Oh, I think, get there. Doesn't, 1, negative 1. So come over here. 0, negative 3, 1, negative 1. So the point is here. Okay? All right, so that should get you ready for the CBA. Make sure you complete CBA Review Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, and have a wonderful Wildcat day.